All right, so welcome to Algebra 1. Today is May 21st. If you have a chance to, if you don't already, try to have a paper and pencil with you for notes, things like that. In the chat box, go ahead and type how you're feeling this morning. But I'm glad we're all at a point where we can still focus. What we're going to work on today is we're going to solve systems of equations by substitution. And I think this is something that we covered in the last session, so it's just something I want us to look at more. Let's look at the do now. So it says, which inequality represents all possible solutions of negative 6c, which is greater than negative 2? Do you have any idea of how to solve that, Sincere?
What, the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Divide.
You what?
Divide.
What do you divide by?
6. Negative 6.
I make sure, yeah, negative 6. That cancels out. And then a negative divided by negative makes a what?
Positive.
Good. So let's just leave it like that. But notice that those two are still not the same as what they have here. So we have to find, what do they have in common? Well, I can divide both numbers by 2. If I divide both of them by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that gives me 6 is greater than 1/3. So when you do go back and do this, make sure that you find the right one and make sure that you're careful with it because sometimes the answers switch. So C is greater than 1/3. So which one has positive? This one's a negative, so I know it's not that one. This one's a negative. I know it's not that one. Now I need to check which one has the right symbol, and it's this one. If we look at question number 2, it says solve using substitution. Remember, this is where I first figure out if there's one that says y equals, and there is. This one says y equals negative 7. So then I take this number, because it says y is equal to that, and I plug it in for y, because again, y is equal to that. So it's 6x plus 3 times negative 7 is equal to negative 21. Okay. Let's see what that gives me. Oh, that should be a 6. Right, and then I want to make sure to get that x by itself. So let me get rid of this 21 first. Cancels out, and this actually canceled out because notice it's a minus and a positive. That gives me 6x is equal to 0 because that's 0. And then I divide by 6. 0 divided by 6 is just going to be 0. Okay, so my x is 0, and what was my y? You remember what is it?
7.
I don't know. Oh, there, okay. Negative 7, that's my y. And then I find my answer, it's on there, it is D. Okay. So what was that? Practice on that hopefully. So this problem is the one we looked at last time about the restaurant serving a vegetarian and chicken lunch special each day, and that each vegetarian special is the same price. Each chicken special is the same price. However, the price of the vegetarian chicken is different from the price of the chicken special. On Thursday, the restaurant collected $435 selling 15 vegetarian specials and 30 chicken specials. On Friday, the restaurant collected $690 selling 30 vegetarian specials and 40 chicken specials. Enter the cost in dollars of the vegetarian lunch special. So today we should actually be able to solve this problem finally. But let's get some additional practice on substitution. This is what we worked on Tuesday. So we have two equations, and then let me move this to the bottom because I can't really see. All right, so based on that, we have x plus y is equal to 10. And then we have 5x minus y is equal to 2. Our step is solve one equation for one variable, meaning we want one of them to have a y equals. Which one would be easiest to change? Sorry. And then, okay, so the first one, oh wait, I didn't even pause my recording. I'm over here still. Okay, so for the first one, and then we want to get that one to be by itself. So if we have x plus y equals 10, I want y by itself, so we subtract x from each side. And that gives me negative x plus 10. So notice how now we have y equals by itself. Okay. So we already used this first one. Now substitute the expression from step 1 into the other equation. So now we're going to take this from step 1. And notice it says y equals, so we're going to make it come in here for the y equals. Okay? So we're going to take 5x minus, and then put everything in parentheses. So negative x plus 10 equal to 2. Now you can't just get rid of this negative, okay? So what you have to do is you have to distribute it. You have to pretend it's a negative 1. Negative 1 times negative x is a positive x. Negative 1 times positive 10 is negative 10. Now here, what can we combine that's similar? And I'm over here recording and showing your faces. I am a mess this morning. Whew. Hold on. So this has the same like term. So if you have, let's say, 5 pennies, and then you find another penny, how many do you have altogether? Or let's not say pennies. Maybe you bought 5 hot dogs and then you ate it. I don't know. But it would mean that if you have 5x plus x, that's a total of 6x minus 10 is equal to 2. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And then we're going to add 10 to each side because, again, we're trying to get that x by itself. Divide by 6 on each side. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side, and that leaves me with 2. But notice we still don't have a value for x because for y. We said y was all of that. We need to plug in that 2 back into the equation, okay? So looking at, like it says, substitute back into either original equation to find the value of the other variable. So I'm going to take x plus y. And remember, we found out what x is equal to. So 2. And then we take away 2 on each side. And that cancels out. And 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. So now we have an x and we have a y. So we need to find either A by itself or B by itself, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this equation because notice B is kind of by itself, so it'll be easier to work with than the top one. So I'm going to take that equation and I'm going to get B by itself. So what do? I subtract 2A from each side because, again, I'm just trying to move it to the other side. And that leaves me with this. Is B by itself? Okay. Notice that there's a negative, right? Yeah. With that negative there, that means it's not by itself because if B was by itself, it would be just like this. Okay? But it has that negative, so we need to get rid of it. So what do? Divide by -1 on each side, so it cancels out. Okay. Now, when I do a divide by negative 1, each one gets divided. So what's negative 2a divided by negative 1? It's positive 2a, and I know that's a lot. What's 5 divided by negative 1? It's negative 5, and that gives me my equation. So now what do I do with this? I plug it into the other equation. So we have 2a minus 3 times 2a minus 5 is equal to 7. And again, I know that this is a lot of information, so just try to keep up as much as you possibly can. But then we go ahead and multiply like this. Negative 3 times 2a is negative 6a. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15, and that equals to 7. Now we have 2a minus 6a plus 15 equals 7. Remember, these are like terms. We can put those together. 2a minus 6a is negative 4a. Everything else stays the same. Then I subtract 15 from each side. That leaves me with negative 4a is equal to, and then if I do that, that gives me negative 8. And notice that I just keep taking steps to get a by itself, okay? That's all I'm doing. And then it's equal to 2. Now, am I done with this problem? So in the chat box, or just say it out loud, one of the two, can you please type whether you think that I'm done with the problem now that I found A, but look at B. Did we find B? Not really, because B is 2a equals or 2a minus 5. We want to continue because we want to find B all by itself. So we go 2a, we take the original equation, and we plug in A. Okay, so we're going to plug that in. 2 times 2, because remember, this right here, A, it's going to go in here. Minus B equals 5. 2 times 2 is 4, minus B equals 5. And then we're going to subtract 4 on each side. 5 minus 4 is 1. So let me ask you again, is B by itself? It is not by itself, because remember, for it to be by itself, it can't have anything with it. This has a negative symbol. So to get rid of it, we're going to divide each side by negative 1 to get rid of it. And that gives me 1 divided by negative 1 is just negative 1. Okay. Now we have an answer because we have an A and a B. All right, you guys, I know that's a lot of information. We're just going to go straight into our problem so we can finish with this one. I know this is a lot, and it can be a lot, so just try to keep up and try to do as much as you can with me. I understand that it's really hard sometimes to teach math through like this virtually, so we're just going to do the best we can. But we're going to pretend that, well, not pretend, we're going to make the vegetarian lunch special, just the letter V, and we're going to make the chicken lunch special, just the letter C. Okay. Each one is the same price every day. So let's look on Thursday. How much did the restaurant make? How much money?
435 sales, 15
vegetarian.
Vegetarians.
And then how many chicken specials did they sell?
30.
Good. So stop right there. Notice this equation I made. They made $435 after they sold 15 vegetarian specials and 30 chicken specials. Okay. So now let's have some data. So we're gonna put, what was it, 40 chicken specials, and then again we're trying to find V. So how many vegetarian, how many chicken? We're trying to find those by themselves. So I'm going to take one of my equations. I'm going to take the first one. And again, remember, I'm just going to try to get one of the letters by itself. I'm going to try to get V by itself just because. So if I'm trying to get it by itself, I'm going to go minus 30C because I'm trying to get rid of this. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. And that's minus 30C is plus 435 is equal to 15v. And notice I still need to get this by itself. So I'm going to divide by 15. Oops. And I have to divide each of them by 15. Now, if I were to plug this into the calculator, this is negative 2c. Now I'm going to take that, well, that one I knew by heart, but let me divide 435 divided by 15. And that gives me 29. And that's v. Okay. Let me make sure that looks like a 9. So now that I have that, I can take my second equation. Oops, sorry, that's a plus. And now I can go ahead and plug this information for the letter V. Okay, so I'm going to take that, but notice this one looks a lot longer than usual, but same thing. Now we're going to distribute. 30 times negative 2c is negative 60c. 30 times 29 is 870. So we're dealing with pretty big numbers. And then this stays the same, 40c. Oops. Now notice again, we have combined terms. These end in c, we can put them together. So anytime we have that, we can put them together. Negative 60c plus 40c is negative 20c. Okay. And then I go ahead and subtract from each side because again, I'm trying to get it by itself. And I'm going really, really fast, but we are running out of time. So I'm just trying to get as much done as we can. That's equal to negative 180. I just mainly want to show you how it comes out to a result, okay? If we divide by 20 on each side, because again, the whole point is each time, I'm just trying to get the letters to be by themselves, okay? So here, this is gonna end up equaling to 9. So 9 is equal to C. And then something I want you guys to tell me what that information stands for. Even if the whole process might be extremely confusing, I do want you guys to tell me, well, what does this information mean? So give me a second to just finish off this problem. And then remember, I know what C is, so I'm just gonna put it in like that. 15V, that's 270. I'm gonna subtract each side by 270 because I'm trying to get V by itself. Let me make sure that's correct, 13, yeah. Equals 15V, and then I'm gonna divide each side by 15, and then I'm gonna type that into my calculator. And then this is our last thing for today. Okay, so we have two numbers. We have this, 11 equals V, and then 9 equals C. What does this information mean? What we're trying to figure out is what it says, right? It says, enter the cost in dollars for the vegetarian special. So that means that the chicken special costs $9 and the vegetarian special costs $11. So like Sincere said, well, the vegetarian special is more, meaning it costs more. When you plug this answer into a system, let's say it's asking you this question, it tells you to plug in the answer. It says enter the cost in dollars for the vegetarian lunch special. So what would the answer be? What is the cost of the vegetarian lunch on there? All right, so next steps, make sure to complete your do nows, your exit tickets, and homework assignments. And please make sure to complete any assignments that you're still missing. Try to get those done as soon as possible, okay? But besides that, I will go ahead and see you guys on Monday.